The cabin of United Flight 1111 is cruising at 35,000 feet somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean, and the air inside is already thick with something that has nothing to do with altitude. 312 passengers are sealed inside a pressurized aluminum tube hurtling through the dark at 570 miles per hour, and most of them have no idea that a little girl in seat 24C is running out of time. Her name is Maya. She is 9 years old. She has type 1 diabetes and she has been deaf since birth, and right now her continuous glucose monitor is silently screaming a number that no parent ever wants to see. Her blood sugar is dropping fast, and the insulated medical pouch that holds her emergency glucagon kit, her glucose tablets, her backup insulin pen, and the juice boxes her father packed with military precision is sitting in the overhead bin above row 24. Except it isn't there anymore. Because 40 minutes ago, a woman in seat 23A decided that her Louis Vuitton carry-on needed more room, and she moved a child's medical bag without a second thought, and now nobody can find it. And Maya's father is not in seat 24B where he is supposed to be. Maya's father is in the cockpit. And when that cockpit door opens, everything on this flight is about to change forever. But to understand how this moment became inevitable, you have to go back to the very beginning. You have to go back to Terminal C at John F. Kennedy International Airport, 22 hours before takeoff, where a woman named Diane Holloway is already making the gate agents regret coming to work. Diane Holloway is 53 years old, and she has the particular energy of someone who has complained her way to the top of everything she has ever done. She grew up in Westchester County, New York, the middle child of a family that gave her everything except the one thing she actually craved, which was the certainty that she was more important than everyone around her. She married well twice, divorced better twice, and somewhere between the second alimony settlement and the third Botox appointment she developed what her former friends privately called the condition. The condition was simple. Diane believed at the cellular level that inconvenience was a personal attack, that waiting in lines was beneath her, that other people's needs existed in a separate, lesser category than her own, that customer service representatives, flight attendants, gate agents, and airline employees of every variety were placed on this earth to manage her comfort. She had filed 47 formal complaints with 6 different airlines in the past 4 years. 47. She had a spreadsheet. She knew the difference between a complaint that earned you a meal voucher and one that earned you a full fare refund, and she worked that knowledge like a second job. She had gotten a gate agent at LaGuardia suspended. She had forced a Delta flight attendant to apologize in writing. She had once demanded and received a full business class upgrade by staging what witnesses described as a controlled emotional collapse at the check-in counter of a Miami terminal, complete with strategic tears and a veiled threat involving her imaginary attorney. Tonight she is booked on United Flight 1111, the overnight transatlantic service from JFK to London Heathrow. Flight time is 7 hours and 40 minutes. She has purchased a premium economy seat, 23A, which she has already decided is not good enough, and she has arrived at the gate 2 hours early not because she is punctual but because she believes that arriving early gives her an advantage in the ongoing war she is fighting against the entire airline industry. The gate agent, a young woman named Priya who has been working this terminal for 3 years and has seen things, notices Diane the moment she approaches the podium. There is a particular walk that difficult passengers have. It is not fast exactly. It is purposeful in a way that announces itself. Diane has that walk. She wants to know why her seat has not been upgraded. She is a frequent flyer. She has status. She produces a card. Priya explains, with practiced calm, that the business class cabin is full and that upgrades are allocated based on a complex combination of status tier, fare class, and availability. Diane says that is unacceptable. Priya says she understands. Diane says she does not think Priya does understand. Priya smiles the smile of someone who has been trained never to stop smiling. The conversation lasts 11 minutes and ends with Diane walking away from the podium without an upgrade, but with the particular satisfaction of someone who has drawn blood from the interaction regardless. She boards early, in the priority group, and she settles into 23A with the air of a queen accepting a lesser throne. She is immediately unhappy with the overhead bin space. There are already 2 bags in the bin above her row, both of them perfectly sized, both of them belonging to passengers who are not yet in their seats. She does not consider this relevant information. She begins reorganizing the bin herself the way some people do, with the casual authority of someone rearranging furniture in their own home. The bag she moves is an insulated medical pouch. It is dark blue with a white medical cross on the exterior. It has a zipper handle shaped like a small red heart. It is clearly labeled in both English and Braille. It is not heavy. She moves it without reading the label, without registering the medical cross, and she places it 3 rows back in an overhead bin above row 27, behind a leather jacket and someone's duty-free shopping bag. She does not think about it again. The passengers begin to board, and among them, coming down the jetway in the steady river of humanity, is a man named Captain Daniel Reyes, though he is not wearing his uniform tonight. He is in civilian clothes, dark jeans, a navy Henley, a worn baseball cap that says nothing about who he is or what he does for a living. He is 38 years old, and he has the calm, unhurried quality of someone who has learned to move through chaos without becoming part of it. Beside him, her small hand tucked into his large one, is his daughter Maya. Maya is 9. She has her father's dark eyes and her mother's stubborn chin, and she is wearing noise-canceling headphones that she uses not to block sound but out of habit, because the world has always been a quiet place for her, and the headphones are part of her identity, part of her armor. She communicates with her father in fluid American Sign Language, and they have a private shorthand built over 9 years of traveling the world together. Because Maya's father is a transatlantic pilot and Maya has been on more flights before her 10th birthday than most people take in a lifetime. She is also a type 1 diabetic, diagnosed at age 4, and her father manages her medical routine with the same systematic precision he applies to pre-flight checklists. The insulated medical pouch is one he assembled himself. It contains a glucagon emergency kit, a full set of glucose tablets in 3 different flavors because Maya has opinions, 2 backup insulin pens, a calibrated Lancet device, a small juice box collection, and a printed emergency protocol card with contact information and medical instructions in both English and Spanish. He has packed this bag for 5 years. He could pack it in his sleep. He placed it in the overhead bin above row 24 the moment they boarded, before sitting down, before taking off his cap, before doing anything else. He noted its position. He does this every single flight. He did not see Diane Holloway move it. They settle into seats 24B and 24C, and Daniel leans over and signs to Maya asking if she is comfortable, and she signs back that she is hungry, and he signs that they will get snacks once they are in the air, and she gives him the look that children give parents when they know they are right, and he smiles and pulls out a book, and the engine noise changes and the plane begins to push back from the gate, and Flight 1111 lifts off from JFK at 11:17 in the evening. For the first 90 minutes, the flight is ordinary. The cabin crew, led by senior flight attendant Marcus and working with 4 others including a woman named Sophia and a young man named Trevor, move through the ritual of the overnight service with professional efficiency. Meals are distributed. Drinks are poured. The lights dim to overnight mode, that particular blue-tinged darkness that turns an airplane cabin into something between a submarine and a sleeping car. Most passengers settle into their blankets and their sleep masks and their private screens. Diane Holloway does not settle. She has sent back her meal because the chicken was not what she expected, even though it was exactly what the menu said it would be. She has asked Marcus to have the passenger behind her asked not to recline. She has requested a different pillow. She has spent 40 minutes typing what appears to be a complaint email on her laptop. Marcus has handled all of this with the equanimity of a man who meditates and runs half marathons and has been flying these routes for 11 years. He has seen Diane. He has seen 100 Dianes. He keeps moving. At the 2-hour mark, Maya's continuous glucose monitor sends a vibration alert to the watch on her wrist. Her blood sugar is drifting lower. This is not unusual on overnight flights. The cabin pressure and the altered sleep schedule and the disrupted mealtime all affect her glucose levels in ways that Daniel has mapped and managed across dozens of transatlantic crossings. He sees the alert on his own paired device, leans over, checks her, and reaches up to retrieve her medical pouch from the bin above their row. The bin is empty. He opens it further. He checks both sides. He looks at the rows immediately ahead and behind. The pouch is not there. And here is the thing about Daniel Reyes that you need to understand right now. He does not panic. He is a transatlantic captain. He has trained for scenarios far more terrifying than a missing medical bag. But there is a quality to the stillness that comes over him in that moment, standing in the aisle at 2 in the morning at 35,000 feet, that several passengers who are still awake will later describe in their testimonials as the scariest thing they saw on the entire flight. Not the screaming, not the confrontation, not even what happened at the end. The scariest thing was watching that man go completely, unnaturally still. He begins to search systematically. He checks the surrounding bins. He signs to Maya to stay in her seat and he moves up the aisle. Maya watches her father with the clear eyes of a child who trusts him completely, and she shows him with her hands that she is feeling a little dizzy, and he shows her with his hands that he knows and that she should drink the water on her tray table and that he is handling it. He is halfway through checking the bins in row 21 when Diane Holloway, who has been watching him move through the cabin with the particular irritation of someone who resents other people's urgency, says loudly from seat 23A, without looking up from her laptop, that he should watch where he is going. Daniel pauses. He looks at her. He says calmly that he is looking for a medical bag, dark blue with a white cross, that was in the bin above row 24, and that it is urgent. He describes it precisely. He asks if she has seen it. Diane Holloway looks at him for the first time. She looks at him with the particular assessment that entitled people use on strangers, cataloging, categorizing, deciding in the first 3 seconds of eye contact whether this is a person who matters. She takes in the jeans, the baseball cap, the fact that he is clearly worried. She decides he does not matter. She says she doesn't know anything about any bag and suggests he check with the crew. Something in her answer does not sit right with Daniel. 11 years of reading cockpit instruments and human behavior in high-stakes environments has given him a sensitivity to information that is present in what people say and absent in what they don't. She answered too quickly. She did not look at him when she answered. And there is, in the space above her row, a very particular gap in the arrangement of the bags in the bin that suggests something was recently rearranged. He says, with the same even calm, that he would like to look in the bin above her row. Diane says that is her bin. He says he understands and he would like to look in it. She says the bags in that bin are hers. He says the bag he is looking for contains insulin and emergency medication for his daughter, who is showing symptoms of hypoglycemia. Diane says, and this is a sentence that 43 different passengers will later confirm they heard clearly in the dimmed overnight cabin, that she does not see why that is her problem. The cabin goes quiet in a new way, not the quiet of sleep, the quiet of attention. Marcus appears from the galley. He has been watching this exchange from the forward service area, and he arrives with the practiced neutrality of a senior cabin crew member who is about to attempt de-escalation. He addresses Daniel first, calling him sir, asking if there is something he can help with. Daniel explains the situation in 3 concise sentences. Missing medical bag. Diabetic child. Urgent timeline. Marcus nods and turns to Diane and asks, very politely, whether she might have seen a medical bag when she boarded. Diane closes her laptop. She turns to Marcus with the expression of someone who has been waiting for an audience. And she begins to talk. She talks about her status, about her miles, about the meal that was not right and the pillow that was wrong and the passenger behind her. She talks about the fact that she should not have to deal with other people's problems in her bin space. She says she does not know what bag they are talking about. She says she has rights as a passenger. She says she knows people at United. She says the name of someone who she implies is a senior executive. She says Marcus's name, reading it from his badge, and she says it in the way that people say names when they are filing it for later use. Marcus remains calm. He says he needs to access the bin above her row. She says she needs to speak to a supervisor. Marcus says he is the senior flight attendant on this service. She says she wants to speak to the pilot. And Marcus, still calm, still professional, says that is not how aircraft operations work and that a child needs medical attention and that he needs to open the bin. Diane stands up. She stands up in the middle of the overnight flight, in the dimmed cabin, with 300 passengers around her,